shine on the court in the new Yonex VCORE Pro 100 300 grams. With a stunning green and gold cosmetic, the VCORE Pro 100 300 grams gets updated with a new throat construction for higher spin potential and a new dampening technology using vibration dampening mesh integrated into the handle for a cleaner feel upon impact. The Yonex VCORE Pro 100 features Yonex's iconic isometric head shape for a larger sweet spot, a 323 swing weight, and a 65 stiffness rating. First up, we have Jason. Now, you were on the playtest of the VCORE Pro 97 310. How did this 100 square inch head size compare?
I thought that the rackets were pretty similar. I'd say that this one feels a little bit more user-friendly, even though it does have a slightly higher swing weight. On my ground strokes, I thought it was just really easy to use, easy to generate racket head speed for lots of spin on my shots. I thought power level was pretty good for a racket around 11 ounces. Really good ball pocketing as well. Up at net is kind of where I felt like I was missing some of that weight. If I was hitting a volley in the sweet spot, it felt really good, but anything slightly outside of it, there were some torsional stability issues, and it does feel like it gets pushed around just a little bit. Up on my serves, once again, just really easy to use, easy to just swing through contact and generate lots of spin with. And I'd say the power level was just about average there. Speaking of power, I thought this racket was more powerful than the previous version. It also feels a bit more powerful than the VCORE Pro 97 310. But I was just wanting a little bit more free power. I think that's why I kind of tend to gravitate toward the E-Zone line of rackets. But overall, I think this is a really solid update. It feels a little bit more stable and powerful than the previous version, and a great choice for intermediate on-up players.
Next up, we have Tiffany. Now, you have a long history with Yonex rackets, have used some in the past and hit multiple generations of these 100 square inch Yonex rackets. What do you think of this one?
Well, the previous version of the VCORE 100, or VCORE Pro 100, was actually one of my favorite rackets, and I played with it for quite a bit longer after the play test to see if I would make the switch. And one of the reasons that I ended up not doing that was because I felt it wasn't quite as stable as my own racket. And I think this racket is much improved in that category. I felt that this one maybe didn't swing as quickly as the previous version, but in turn, I got a lot more stability and a lot more comfort out of sight, the sweet spot. I did prefer this racket strung up with a softer poly. We did have a firmer one in there, but I preferred it with the Yonex Polytour Pro. It just had a really nice pocketing feel when I was at the baseline. Up at net, unlike Jason, I felt that this one was right maneuverability and good stability for me. I always am looking for a little bit more free power on my serve, and this one had some power, but not quite enough, like a pure drive or something like that. So I really relied on my consistency. Overall, I really do think that this is a great racket as well, and it's something that I'm going to continue to play with. Just I do like how this one plays from the baseline.
Next up, we have Mark, one of our resident lefties here. Now, you have a very counter-punching game style, and we've actually put you on a ton of different rackets lately, and you've got to hit with a bunch of the different VCORE Pros in this lineup. What do you think of this one?
Wow, Yonex frames, just every evolution of these frames, I seem to gravitate towards them more and more. I would say this was definitely not only an update, but a refinement and improvement over the last one. The VCORE 100, 300 gram version felt a little more whippy. That was reflected in a sub 320 swing weight. This one's a little more into the 320s, and it also has a slightly longer Y or throat piece, so it makes it a little more stable, especially against heavy hitters as yourself and other people here, the baseline bullies as I like to refer to them. So I was able to fend those attacks off pretty well with this racket. It does weigh 11.2 ounces, so that's where I prefer a higher swing weight with the lighter racket. It does make it feel a little bit more stable. String pattern wise, I was able to really stay connected to the ball. Top spin was no problem developing, and I was still able to keep my backhand slice pretty low. On return to serve, if someone belted me a pretty heavy one, it did kind of show up in the form of instability, but overall this is definitely one of the more versatile 11.2 ounce rackets that I've been playing with.
I was also on this playtest, and it's no secret I'm a big fan of 100 square inch head sizes from Yonex. I've used Yonex rackets for the last 8 years, and I've also playtested the last several iterations of this VCORE Pro 100. I was a really big fan of this update. First and foremost, I really enjoyed the feel. I felt very connected to the ball, and I thought it was just a clean feel off my ground strokes. I thought this racket was very easy to generate racket head speed. It was really easy to maneuver, and this translated into nice spin potential on my ground strokes, returns, serves. Compared to my racket of choice, the Yonex E-Zone 100, I thought this offered more control and more precision, but a little bit less power. I really preferred to return over serve with this racket. I thought it offered great stability and precision. I could be really aggressive off my return, but I was looking for a little bit more easy power on my first serve. I didn't really have any major negatives with this racket, but there was a couple times it didn't quite gel with my game. I was looking for some easy depth when I was on the defense, and I was hitting the ball a little bit short, so I wasn't quite getting back into a neutral position. I was also looking for a little bit more power on my put-away shots, and I was just finding that one or two more balls were coming back into the court. Overall, players that are fans of the VCORE and E-Zone lines but are looking for a little bit more control and precision should definitely check this one out. We play tested the Yonex VCORE Pro 100 300 grams with 2 different string setups, Yonex Polytour Pro and Technofiber Ice Coat at around 50 to 52 pounds. For more information on this racket or any others, please check us out at Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.